You know, I did an interview a while ago, and a guy said...
Welcome to Visual Radio. Felix Cavaliere, formerly of the Rascals. Is it still the Rascals, Felix?
No, it's formerly. The Rascals are gone.
Yeah.
But the music lives on, thank goodness.
And how long will you be in Boston?
Well, I've got 2 children in school here, so I'll be here like for the weekend.
Oh, they're at college.
Yeah.
So that's nice. You're doing a show at the Avalon.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly.
And you're able to get some family ties done as well.
Yeah, this is a great town. I love this town. I always have a good time here. So it's working out that my children feel the same way about it. So
that's nice. We've seen you before in town at a couple of outdoor radio-sponsored shows over the past several years. And do you recollect? Did the Rascals used to come to Boston back in their heyday in the '60s? Were you around then?
We did so many jobs in Massachusetts. I mean, we just continuously circled the state, you know, because this area was always a very big record market. And, you know, the records basically dictated in those days to the radio stations. It's kind of backwards now. But it used to be that, you know, the sales, you know, was so strong in Massachusetts that you'd get immediately on the radio. So we used to come through here all the time, all the time.
So you were probably on the old WBZ, WMEX type of AM top 40 hit.
Yeah, but I can remember playing the Garden with
Boston Garden, the old Garden,
with the Dave Clark 5, and you know.
That's a big show.
We had a lot of fun here, and as a result, you know, like you know, we worked here with Smokey Robinson at somewhere out in Cambridge. I remember, maybe I think it might have been Harvard Stadium or something.
Yeah.
But we just had a lot of fun here. Always enjoyed it.
How much touring are you doing these days, Felix?
We're working quite a lot now, you know. Thanks to this gentleman over here, we've been working almost all year now. We used to be just crammed into the summer months, but now the winter months have a lot of corporate jobs and you know, festivals, and it's really become a very interesting. Casinos are another thing that has been added. It's just really interesting to me because I never dreamt that we would be doing these things, you know, 30 years later.
All right, do you still do any songwriting or recording?
Well, I really haven't had much time to do any recording because we've been working so much, but I try to keep up a little bit on the songwriting because I recently moved to Nashville, Tennessee, which is becoming the songwriters' capital of the United States, and so, you know, that's really the reason I went there, was to be part of that songwriting community.
Felix, we think of you as sort of the heart of New York.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But, you know, it's just, there's so many of us down there. New York, for some reason, has not kept its music base. The music base has changed quite a bit in New York. And, you know, it's like a hip-hop type of place that's doing commercials. Tennessee seems to be a more creative type of place right now where they're just creating new songs. And songwriting is one part of the business that really never changes, you know. I mean, even though the musical styles may change, a good song still is important, you know. So that's one of the reasons I went there.
Well, your songs, of course, continually get airplay on what they call oldies and classic hit stations, so that must be reassuring to know that there's still a strong audience for Felix Cavaliere compositions.
It's amazing. It's really, I mean, it's more than you can ever hope for, you know.
Now, when you came out of New York, the Rascals were known to some of us of Italian-American heritage as being one of the rare Italian-American rock groups of the 60s. Was that something that you guys thought of consciously or were aware of?
No, I don't think we were aware of it. The only time we were aware of it is like when some people would tell me, you know, you guys made it okay for us to have long hair. Because, you know...
It used to be slicked back before then, right?
Yeah, and, but no, we never really paid much attention to that. But, you know, a lot of the guys from the past, like Frankie Valli and Dion DiMucci, I mean, they were all Italian as well, Frankie Avalon, and, you know, I mean, the majority of them were, but they changed their names, a lot of them. Yeah. And I chose not to, primarily because I thought that, you know, like, that's my family name, and I'm proud of it, and I want to use it. But it has been a big problem because throughout the United States, people cannot pronounce it. And it's been, like, changed to, like, I mean, they don't want to say the E on the end. They want to write an I on the end. It would have been much simpler if I changed my name to, you know, Fred. But I always felt it was, not the thing to do,
Were you influenced as a youngster by sort of Italian-American artists like Sinatra and Dean Martin and people of that era, or not so much?
Well, I think later in life I became more influenced by them than earlier, because I started off basically in a classical world, and then I jumped right to rock and roll. And I didn't have much of the in-between until later, when I became like, an older teenager or something like that. And actually my drummer, Dino Dinelli at the time, turned me onto the big bands, because I just kind of bypassed that, and then I went backwards and got it.
Yeah, well, you guys are kind of famous for having started out with Joey D and the Starlighters, is that right?
Well, three of us did, yeah.
You and Eddie and Gene Cornish.
Well, Eddie's brother was one of the original members.
Oh, David Brigatti.
Yes.
Oh.
So, that was the link to him through Eddie, because Eddie really never was. He was too young to be part of it. And then Gene and of course Dino was never part of it. But, it's like these things make good stories, so people put them in the trades.
But did you guys actually play like the Peppermint Lounge and that type of thing?
No.
You were part of that era?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I played with a band, but I was a young kid, so that's how I met that group of people, and it continued on from there, because in the old days, New York was a strong place for music, very strong.
It was where it was all happening.
Yeah, and then it moved out to L.A., and then it would kind of go back and forth for a while, and then these other cities like Atlanta popped up, and as I say, Memphis, of course, and Muscle Shoals, and, which is really just a little tiny little place on the map, but, they started to spread out.